Hello everybody. How you doing? I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and today we're going to be talking about the 2018 suspension benefactors. So what does that exactly mean, Andrew? Well, that means that today we're going to be talking about the players and their fantasy value that have been suspended for the upcoming 2018 season. They've only been suspended for a couple games. And who's going to be benefiting from those suspensions. So who's going to inherit that fantasy value for the first couple weeks and moving forward throughout the 2018 season. So besides that, you know who else benefits from the suspension? You, the viewer. I want to thank everybody for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing to my channel. I extremely appreciate it. We're currently, if I'm not mistaken, at 36 subscribers. We weren't even at 30 last week. So you know what? Again, we're moving up. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate all the support. Keep watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. Keep commenting. I'll take any and all questions, fantasy related and not fantasy related. Honestly, if you just want to talk to somebody, shoot me a message. It doesn't matter. Comment on my video. Anyway, let's get right into it. Fantasy Football 2018 suspension benefactors, right? Hey, everybody. How's it going? So the camera's here. You see me? How's it going? Okay, good. So obviously from the thumbnail, you could tell we're going to be talking about Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram right here. Mark Ingram's going to be suspended for the first 4 games of the 2018 season because of performance-enhancing drugs that he got caught being tested with, etc., etc. That's not the point. We're here to talk about fantasy football and how their value weighs out this coming season, right? So let's start with a little bit of Alvin Kamara, right? I've talked about Alvin Kamara in the past in a couple videos, but again, just a refresher just in case you haven't seen those other videos. So Alvin Kamara last year had 120 rushing attempts for 728 yards, 8 rushing touchdowns, 100 targets, 81 receptions, 826 receiving yards, 5 receiving touchdowns, and 1 kickoff return for a touchdown. Overall, Alvin Kamara in half-point PPR leagues and PPR leagues was a top 5 running back. Plain and simple, as a rookie, he was a monster. Mark Ingram, on the other hand, this is a backfield tandem, right? They're a two-headed monster. Had his best season of his entire career last season, even with Kamara popping off, right? Mark Ingram's stats last year. With 230 rushing attempts, he had 1,124 rushing yards, 12 rushing touchdowns, 71 targets, and 58 receptions, which is still good, considering Alvin Kamara's presence. 416 receiving yards, and again, he was a RB1 in PPR and in half PPR. So this backfield generated something that, fantasy owners and just football fans hadn't seen. They saw 2 monstrous tight ends. Why did tight ends come out? Running backs that both had over 1,000 yards all-purpose within one team in one season. It's crazy. So we're talking about fantasy now, right? What do I see? As of right now, Mark Ingram, right? We're going to talk about a little bit of his value. Again, he's being suspended for the first 4 games of the season. So if you're going to draft him, be prepared to not have Mark Ingram until, later on, after the first month of the season has passed by. So as of right now, Mark Ingram's being drafted as the 24th running back off of the board. Now, what does that exactly mean? He's being, valued at an RB2 range, which, if he kind of performs the way he did last season, then he's going to be an RB2. His ADP is somewhere in the late to mid 50s. And to be honest, I like his value there. He's being drafted around the rookie running backs that I talked about a couple weeks back. Ronald Jones, Rashad Penny a little bit, Royce Freeman. He's kind of being drafted in that range. And to be honest, I kind of like that range. Now, you'd be thinking, Andrew, why wouldn't you just take a rookie running back who's going to start all 16 games in the season? Well, my logic behind it is sort of revolves around the idea that some of these rookie running backs aren't going to be winning their job week 1. They're not going to go into week 1 being the starting running back or the lead back that's going to get 20 touches a game. So let's say, for example, Ronald Jones or Royce Freeman, they don't win the job, right? Throughout training camp, and they don't win it through preseason. It's going to take a couple weeks during the regular season for them to eventually prop up and win the job, okay? That's basically the same amount of time that Mark Ingram's going to be off, 4 weeks. So instead of getting a rookie running back, you can just snag Mark Ingram. If you have depth of the running back position already, snag him, put him on your bench, and from then on, from week 5 on, you can start him every week. Yes, he's going to have a bye week within that range, but, it is what it is. You're just going to be drafting a running back that is going to be fresh, number one, and he's coming off of his best season as a New Orleans Saint and his NFL career. So that's enough with Mark Ingram. Let's talk a little bit more about Alvin Kamara. Obviously, this is the main benefactor to Mark Ingram's suspension, right? I'm pretty sure there's a rookie running back on the Saints as well. Boston Scott. Boston Scott also has potential to be a benefactor because Alvin Kamara is not going to touch the ball, 40 times a game. He's not, right? If the Saints want to continue with their little strategy of having a two-headed monster, Boston Scott could come in. He's a rookie, yes, but he can have some fantasy production this coming year. But other than that, I think, obviously Alvin Kamara is the main benefactor. So let's go into this a little bit more. So as I stated before, Alvin Kamara, he was responsible for 13 touchdowns, 1,500 all-purpose yards last season, 81 receptions, and he only played 14 games, right? And honestly, it really was 13 to be totally honest, because in the beginning of the season, weeks 1 and 2, Adrian Peterson was still on the roster, right? So that didn't give Alvin Kamara much production. He didn't have the opportunity that he had later on in the season. And there was a game on a Thursday night, if I'm not mistaken, against the Atlanta Falcons. Alvin Kamara suffered a concussion within the first quarter. So those were 3 games that I believe that Alvin Kamara could have even produced more, right? So, again, my entire point, last season, with those stats, he only played 13 games. Imagine what he's going to do without Mark Ingram there in the first 4 weeks. Now, you might be thinking, well, does he rely on Mark Ingram? Is it a two-headed monster for a reason? Can Alvin Kamara carry the ball first, second, and third down? Is it possible? Well, we're just going to have to wait and see. But I feel like in the first 4 weeks, Alvin Kamara catching every pass or having every single, for sure, he's going to have every single goal line attempt. That gives him great value in the first 4 weeks. Now, does this make him jump up on draft boards? Yeah, it does. In my opinion, as of right now, Alvin Kamara is probably in the late first round, not late first round, let's say like 8, 9, 10-ish in PPR, half-point PPR leagues. In standard, it's a little bit different because obviously he's not going to contribute as much yards as, Ezekiel Elliott, et cetera, et cetera. So other than that, Alvin Kamara in the first 4 weeks has a lot of opportunity. The Saints are going to run the offense through him. He's going to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's going to, run it every down. And honestly, he's going to have Le'Veon Bell-esque value within the first couple weeks, where you can just guarantee 25 minimum touches and 20 fantasy points as, barring he scores that touchdown. So, again, he is the main benefactor. Now, obviously, there's other benefactors I want to talk about really quickly. Drew Brees is still the quarterback of this offense. He's a monster, right? No matter how old he is, he still ends up being just a complete beast. So a stat that I looked up yesterday, a little bit. Yeah, it was yesterday. Okay, so the stat that I want to read out to you guys. Last season, Drew Brees had the least passing attempts of his entire career since 2009, right? He only threw the ball, 500 times or something like that, right? Every season he's used to throwing the ball 600 plus times, right? So they brought down the amount of times that Drew Brees had to force the ball, and they gave the ball to these running backs. And I think that that's where they want to go. I think they want to take the ball out of Drew Brees' hands, make sure that he's healthy. The more times you drop back, the more opportunity there is of you getting hit in the face by a defensive lineman bull rushing your guard, right? There's always an opportunity there. So by giving the running back the ball, it takes the ball out of Drew Brees' hands, gives him more opportunity. Now, let's say, for example, they come into this season, they're thinking, okay, we don't have Mark Ingram yet. We're not going to run this two-headed monster scheme. We're going to just air it out. Drew Brees can absolutely benefit from that, and so could all the receivers. Michael Thomas, Ben Watson, Cameron Meredith, Ted Ginn. Those guys can absolutely, benefit from this. But otherwise, I see Alvin Kamara being the number one benefactor, of the Mark Ingram suspension of 4 weeks. So yeah, that's number one. We got more guys coming. Here we go. So, Jameis Winston, right? I had a video, and if you were one of the 17 people who watched this video, I had a video just maybe it was a month ago. But if you were one of the 17 people who watched that video, you kind of have an idea of what I'm going to talk about here. There is timestamps below, so if you want to just go on and move on, go for it. Otherwise, I'm going to talk about, Jameis Winston's suspension and who's the benefactor of this. You might be thinking, how could someone benefit from this? Why is Mike Evans on the screen? Well, here it is. Okay, so mainly, Mike Evans' stats, right? I'm not going to read out his stats because obviously in the first 3 games of this 2018 season, Jameis Winston's not there. So why does his stats matter? The only stats I'm going to read is the stats that Mike Evans has produced with backup quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now, what did Ryan Fitzpatrick do last season? Jameis Winston wasn't completely healthy last year. Ryan Fitzpatrick had to play 5 games in which he started 3 of them, okay? In those games, right, 2 of them, Jameis Winston got hurt at halftime, or they pulled the plug and said, you're not going in second half. So basically, Ryan Fitzpatrick had 3 games and that he started and 2 halves, right? So 4 total games-ish, right? But with Ryan Fitzpatrick, Mike Evans produced these stats, okay? 30 targets, 14 receptions, 265 yards, and 1 touchdown, okay? Now, you might be thinking, 14 receptions, 265, 1 touchdown over that, span of how many games Ryan Fitzpatrick started. It doesn't, look well. Mike Evans didn't play one of those games. So, in fact, Mike Evans basically only accounts for 3 games, barring those specific statistics, right? So, in 3 games that, Ryan Fitzpatrick and Mike Evans were a tandem, he had 30 targets. So, that's 10 targets per game. That's a lot of opportunity, right? Yes, he only had 14 receptions on those 30 targets, but those numbers are going to go up, right? This entire offseason, they're working together, right? They have to give Ryan Fitzpatrick some snaps because they're playing 3 tough teams. Week 1, the Saints. Week 2, the Eagles. Week 3, the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Those are 3 tough Super Bowl contending defenses, right? So if Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to get some reps, and Mike Evans, the way I see it, he's a benefactor of this. Now, you might be thinking, well, isn't Jameis Winston a better quarterback than Fitzpatrick? Yes, he is. But Fitzpatrick don't give a give. Fitzpatrick is known for coming out, playing again. I think when he played for the Jets, there was a game where he threw like 5 interceptions to the Chiefs, came out the next drive, threw another one, came out the next drive, threw another one. He didn't care, right? And the way I see it, if you're playing the Saints, the Eagles, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, yes, they have good defenses. Yes, they're going to put a bunch of points on you. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense is going to have to score if they want to win, right? So their game plan is going to be put Ryan Fitzpatrick in the shotgun and throw the ball, right? So obviously, Mike Evans is going to be a benefactor of this. Deshaun Jackson, Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard, Adam Humphrey, all the wide receivers, Chris Godwin, all of them. They're going to benefit. But mostly, I believe it's going to be Mike Evans because he's the number 1 receiver and because, as we can see from last year's stats, he likes to throw the ball to Mike Evans. He's a big target, okay? As I said before, Deshaun Jackson is going to be benefiting from this. Last year with Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback, Ryan Fitzpatrick wasn't a bad quarterback. I'll read his stats in a little bit. Deshaun Jackson had 19 receptions on 30 targets, okay, 208 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's pretty good stats, guys, for having Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick in his 5 games, right? It was really 4 because it was second half, and then 3 full games, right? So it was really 4 games. He had 1,103 passing yards, 7 passing touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions with 78 rushing yards. That's not terrible. Now, I'm not saying to go out and start him week 1 in your Superflex League. That is absolutely not in any capacity what I'm trying to say. What I'm just saying is that Ryan Fitzpatrick is not as bad as people think. Yes, he doesn't give a give, and he's going to go out there and throw picks. But that's fine. Throw a pick. Let him return it for 6. You're back on offense. Get more fantasy points. Come on. I mean, it's easy. It's easy. Otherwise, That's how I feel. Now, Jameis Winston, right? I got to talk about his value a little bit. As of right now, he's being drafted as if I'm not mistaken, where was the stat? It's got to be somewhere here. I think he was QB 23. I'm almost positive he was QB 23. Yeah, I think so. He was QB 23. And I don't have an ADP because the QB 23 was for regular PPR leagues. If you play in a Superflex, honestly, the way I see it, Jameis Winston should be your third quarterback taken if you play in a Superflex. If you play in a standard league, you're not going to really want Jameis until after, obviously, he comes back for suspension. So if you want to stash him on your bench, he's not going to be a top 12 quarterback. But if you want to stash him and leave him there, if you like his matchups going on into the later half of the 2018 season and in the playoffs, then, go for it. Other than that, honestly, I think Mike Evans is going to be relevant in the first couple weeks. Don't sleep on Mike Evans, especially in your drafts, because even when Jameis comes back, Mike Evans is his favorite target. Plain and simple. So that's that. Let's move on to the next bunch. We're going to be talking about the backfield for the Green Bay Packers, right? So we have Jamaal Williams, we have Ty Montgomery, and we have Aaron Jones. Now, Aaron Jones was suspended for 2 games. Again, it's just weird, right? 4 games, 3 games, 2 games. Anyway, I guess the different stupid shit that you do on the offseason will pin you up for different things. Anyway, let's get into this. Aaron Jones suspended for 2 games. Aaron Jones was probably, which many people deemed, he was probably going to be the starting running back coming into this season, right? He got suspended. That is no longer the case. He'll be at home on the Sundays watching as Ty Montgomery and Jamaal Williams try to win that spot. Now, Ty Montgomery last year going into the 2017 season was the starting running back for the Packers. Plain and simple. The year prior, he had transitioned from being a wide receiver to the running back for the Green Bay Packers. Why? Because the Green Bay Packers don't really like to run the ball often. You can even see it off of David Bakhtiari's left tackle stance, right? Off of his stance, you can tell that he's going to be kicking, right? It's a kick step coming first. So they don't like, honestly, they don't like running the ball. If they do, it's here and there. But otherwise, they want a guy like Ty Montgomery flanking Aaron Rodgers so that they can just dump off pass, make it easy, right? Jamaal Williams was a rookie last season. So was Aaron Jones. But Jamaal Williams, he had decent stats. He had 153 attempts for 556 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, 34 targets, in which he had 25 receptions, 262 receiving yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. All things considered, that's pretty good. That's 800 total yards and 6 touchdowns. Honestly, that's better stats than Marshawn Lynch had last season. Okay? Let's just put that in perspective, okay? And this guy only had 153 attempts. Again. And he had 25 receptions. That's pretty good. Ty Montgomery last season, prior to his injury, right? So he only played 8 total games. Even then, I don't think it was 8 total games. It might have been 7, and then he got injured at halftime. So 7.5, I would say. He had 71 attempts for 273 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, 31 targets for 23 receptions, 173 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown. So again, he had about almost 500 total yards, 4 touchdowns, 23 receptions. Okay, Aaron Jones on the other hand, right, only had 81 attempts. So of the running backs that were available, Aaron Jones played 12 games. He had 81 attempts, 448 yards on 81 attempts. That's pretty insane. 4 rushing touchdowns, 18 targets, 9 receptions, 22 receiving yards. Okay, so just off of reading those stats, what pops out to me? Okay, what pops out to me? Ty Montgomery is their favorite receiving back. Okay, Jamaal Williams, yes, is going to catch the ball here and there out of the backfield, and he's decently going to produce. But I think just off of this, Ty Montgomery is going to be that receiving back. He's going to be the third down back. It might be a running back by committee, but Ty Montgomery is going to be that receiving back. So where does this leave Jamaal Williams while Aaron Jones is suspended? I think these two are going to compete. I think at the end of the day, Ty Montgomery is going to win the job, right? He's going to win the starting running back job. And it's going to be tough for Aaron Jones to come back and try to to win himself a starting position. As of right now, Jones is the 47th running back off the board in regular PPR leagues with an ADP of about 109. Honestly, this is the way I see it, okay? I think it's going to be an RBBC, but in the first couple of weeks, Ty Montgomery is going to have the value, right? He's going to take the influx of value. Jamaal Williams, yes, he produced decently last season, but I think they prefer Ty Montgomery over him. And they prefer Aaron Jones over him at that note. So Aaron Jones, at an ADP of 109 in PPR leagues, that's a steal. It's only 2 games. It's not 4 games, right? But again, you have to understand that they're getting put into this running back by committee. So even when he comes back, Aaron Jones will have no contribution in the passing game. None, right? And if you're the Green Bay Packers and you're losing, guess what? We're throwing the ball all 4 downs. We're not punting. We're gonna throw the ball all 4 downs. Okay, so understand that. Understand you're getting a running back that's not going to be able to receive the ball out of the backfield because Ty Montgomery's there. Jamaal Williams can contribute there. But in the first 2 weeks, the main benefactors, I think mainly it's going to be Ty Montgomery. I could be definitely wrong. If you can get Jamaal Williams at a decent value, it's a coin toss, right? After the 2 weeks, he ends up being the third string running back. So be it. But just don't spend a lot, on these 2 running backs, Ty Montgomery and Jamaal Williams. And Aaron Jones in that fact. Just try to see if you can sneak and snag one. Okay? Because if you can, they're going to have great value. Okay? So let's move on. One of my shorter videos. All right. The last thing we're going to talk about. Because, there's not a lot of people getting suspended, right? It's not a good thing. And majority of the people who are getting suspended this season, there's some offensive linemen, and then there's all defensive players left and right, okay? But they have no value to fantasy unless you play in an IDP, which is Individual Defensive Player League, in which I say, I can't help you, okay? So Chris Hogan and Julian Edelman, right? Julian Edelman is coming off of a torn ACL in the 2017 season, right? He in the preseason for 2017 tore his ACL. Didn't play a single game. This offseason, he was popped for PEDs, performance-enhancing drugs. It is what it is. Maybe he was trying to recover a little quickly. I don't know. I'm just speculating. He's been trying to fight it, saying, this is BS. This is the we hate the Patriots thing. I don't care. We're talking about fantasy here. Okay? So who's the main benefactor from Julian Edelman's suspension? Now, we have breaking news. Okay, no, that's trademarked. Okay, excuse me. That was a malfunction from the production team. Nothing happened there, okay? My production team is fired right now, like literally right now, okay? After this video, you're done. So, who's the main benefactor? So the breaking news is that Jordan Matthews, right, who's brought over from the Bills to the Patriots, who everyone thought, he could be the number 2 receiver of this offense this coming, season, has been released. Barring an injury to his hamstring, the Patriots said, it's not going to cut it. You're done. So who is the number 1 wide receiver for this team? I'll tell you this much. It's not Kenny Britt. It's not Philip Dorsett. It's Chris Hogan. Woo! I'm fired up, guys. I'm telling you, Chris Hogan. I mean, guys, Tom Brady is still a monster. Okay? Yes, there's Gronkowski. Yes, there's a running back by committee back there. But Chris Hogan is going to be the number 1 wide receiver in the first 4 weeks of the season. Okay? And even after Julian Edelman comes back, right? What happens to Chris Hogan? Sure. What if he becomes the number 2 wide receiver? He becomes the second option the second to third option to Tom Brady. Who cares? If Tom Brady's throwing 30 touchdowns a season and almost 4,500 to 5,000 yards, obviously he's going to be a monster. He's going to be. Okay, so now you'd be like, oh, okay, well, you're just saying this. You have no proof. Aha. I have the proof. Here are the stats, okay? Chris Hogan last season, okay? Only played 9 games. Why? A little bit of health risk, injury, blah, blah, blah. What kind of stats did he have last season in his 9 games that he played in, okay? He had 59 targets, 34 receptions, 439 receiving yards, 5 receiving touchdowns, okay? In 9 games. Now you're like, okay, so what's so special about that? 440 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, 34 receptions. That's chump change, Andrew. Okay, now real quick. 9 games, okay? Let me read some of the games for you, okay? Let me read some of the games. In week 2, 5 receptions, 78 yards, 1 touchdown. In week 3, 4 receptions, 68 yards, 2 touchdowns. Week 4, 5 receptions, 60 yards, 1 touchdown. Week 5, 8 receptions, 74 yards, 1 touchdown. Now, that was week 5. Week 6, injured. Week 7, 4 receptions, 71 yards. Week 8, 5 receptions, 60 yards. Okay? So now that they're saying, oh, he played 9 games. Okay? I'm looking right here. This is not 9 games. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. Okay? Technically, he played in the season opener against the Chiefs, right? He had like 3 targets. Okay? For 1 reception. Irrelevant. Why? Because it was for 1 yard. Okay? And in week 6, in week 6, he didn't play. Straight injured. Okay? Then after week 8, completely out until the playoffs. Okay? Now, what did he... Let's just put... Okay, so prospectively. In those week 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8, he had all of his stats. He had the 34 receptions. He had the 440 yards. He had the 5 touchdowns. Okay? That's only 6 weeks. He had 5 touchdowns in 6 weeks. Guys, it's a no-brainer. Chris Hogan's ADP, he's going at the... I can't even believe how cheap Chris Hogan is right now. Everyone is blind to this. Why? It's Tom Brady's offense. We're throwing the ball, right? They're going to throw. It's easy. This is a steal, 100%. That's why I'm here. That's why you're watching this video. That's why the camera went out. Because it's insane. It's honestly insane, okay? Now you might be thinking, maybe there's another person that's going to benefit from this, Andrew. No, there isn't. Danny Amendola, gone. He went to the Dolphins because he wants money and he wants to hang out with his wife in Florida. 2, Jordan Matthews, gone. Kenny Britt, he's old. Philip Dorsett has never caught a ball for more than, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Irrelevant, okay? Who's going to catch the ball other than Chris Hogan and Rob Gronkowski in the first 4 weeks? Nobody. And then when Julian Edelman comes back, it doesn't matter. Julian Edelman is going to be covered by the number 1 wide receiver anyway. There it is. I've broken it down. He's going to have great value this season, guys. Honestly. If you can draft him late in draft, you can reach for him and he's going to still have incredible value. He's one of those sleepers that everyone, doesn't want to talk about because, they want him for themselves. Other than that, right, I got to talk a little bit about Julian Edelman's value. Julian Edelman, as of right now, is the 39th receiver off the board in PPR leagues with an ADP of 72. To be honest, I don't really like the value because literally a round earlier, Chris Hogan's going. I'm not even kidding. A round earlier than when Julian Edelman's going, Chris Hogan is being drafted. And if you can just grab Chris Hogan, you have 16 weeks of potential offense. And there it is. Anyway, quick video. Just wanted to let you all know that. This is the 2018 suspension benefactors. And to be honest, as I said before, the biggest benefactor of this video is you guys. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and then at the end of the day, subscribe to my channel if you want more content. I'm bringing out stuff every week. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I definitely enjoyed talking about this. So until next time, I appreciate it, everybody, and I'll see you guys later.